This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
My whole life, I was born to be in a dive bar. Sometimes I wonder if I was born in a dive bar.
I mean, I think it's possible.
I think it's my calling. I truly do.
How many
believe.
kids in your family? 100?
There were a lot.
At least one was conceived in a dive bar.
There were 8 of them. What do you mean at least? What? Do you know something I don't know? Holy crap. I'm trying to picture my mom and dad.
Oh, no, like that? Conceiving you?
No. In a dive bar.
God.
I don't know that they ever... Now, the old man probably did, right? Right? Come on now. He was a Teamster. He was a union guy. He probably would stop by for a beer on the way home from work at a dive bar, right?
Why not? The best kind.
He would stop by in the city at a corner bar. And sometimes you'd have them on the same intersection, a corner bar diagonal from each other.
2 competing dive bars?
Well, they weren't really competing as much as they were serving. That's it.
Oh.
That's it.
All right. I'm good with that.
And I think we're at a dive bar right now.
We are in a dive bar, and a really good dive bar. And I feel bad for patrons because when we just drop into places, we don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And they come in to have a drink and a steak, and then they go, who are these people? And why are they bothering my dinner?
Well, hopefully we won't disturb anyone's dinner.
Can you smell that steak?
I think it's steak night at a dive bar.
Now, here's the great thing about this particular dive. First of all, tonight we thought we're going to talk about what makes a great dive bar.
Yeah.
Right? So before we get to that, let's do all the housekeeping stuff. Tom's World Beer Tour. Don't forget to join us as a podcast. It releases tomorrow. Anywhere, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart, blah, blah, blah. Subscribe. You'll have us on Thursday mornings for your commute. A lot of people send me notes saying, hey, man, you're really making my commute better.
And if you listen.
One email. But that's still.
If you listen and you're like, this is a great podcast, I wish I could see it. Well, video's available also because
you can.
Tom Bowman over here, that's the other guy. He's really into the whole video casting
I like the
also.
video part because, once again, when we don't look at the cameras, we're not doing a TV show. Basically, you get to watch us do a podcast.
Yeah, it's really old. It's not the big.
Right.
You're watching us drink.
Our tailgater, which is, listen, the king of beers.
It's a Budweiser.
We're in Missouri.
But we're going to get to our conversational beer when we bring on our first guest. We have 2 guests on the show today.
I think our second guest is going to be a regular bump.
What does that mean?
I think every week we're going to bump him.
Oh, I didn't know what that meant. I thought it was a California term. It's like, where have you been, Tom? I stopped by to see my regular bump. I didn't know what that meant.
God, I don't know where that's going.
Well, think about that.
Jeez.
Picture that, if you will.
The shape of things to come.
Yeah, it's TR7, my friend.
That's right.
All right. So now that's all coming up this evening. We're going to be doing that
right.
stuff. Can I bring up something else?
Sure.
Earlier this week, you joined me on my radio show.
I did.
And we got into a conversation about what you do for a living. I almost think, if you would allow us,
sure,
I think you should be our guest one week on Tom's World Beer Tour.
I'm the guest?
I'm serious. Yes. And I get to be the interviewer. You're the interviewee.
All right.
I would like to talk to you about what you do, what you've done in these last umpteen years. I mean, you guys put on the broadcasts for universities and colleges across the nation.
Right.
For how many colleges? This is Learfield IMG College.
Correct.
How many do you handle?
Me personally?
No.
The
company.
In various forms, close to 200. In various forms.
200 schools.
200 universities and colleges. Keep in mind, what I handle specifically is the audio broadcast. And I say audio because it's not just on the radio anymore. It's streaming. It's on apps. It's all of that.
By the way, you've also started video with these things too.
We do have some amazing booth cams, which are very, very cool.
And very, very watched. People are like, I want to watch this thing going on. So if you picture your favorite broadcasters at any sporting event, you're like, I'd like to watch what they're doing there.
Well, Alabama's a great example, right? So the University of Alabama is us. Eli Gold, who's been the longtime voice. He kid that grew up in Brooklyn who's calling games in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, remember the old Bugs Bunny villain here's what we're gonna do. See, we're gonna do this. See, it was like a caricature of like a Bugsy Malone or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how Eli calls a game because he's from Brooklyn. So he's like, and they're at the 10, see, and the 5, see, touchdown, Alabama.
But now Alabama fans can't live without him.
No, but if you tried to put somebody from Brooklyn at Alabama in this era, they'd get skewered.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
But ironically, Eli was more well known for being the voice of MRN, the Motor Racing Network. He called NASCAR on the radio, and more people knew him from that.
See, this is what I'm talking about. That's why I think, because you're doing a disservice to all the knowledge and information you have behind it and how cool this stuff is to find out. And so it's, is it Edward G. Robinson?
Yeah.
You were just mimicking?
Yeah.
She. Yeah. He played Rocky. No, Rocco. Rocco.
Yeah.
In Key Largo.
Right. And Mel.
In Key Largo with
right.
Humphrey Bogart.
And Mel Blanc, who was the voice of Bugs Bunny and all those great voices, when he took that voice and made it his own. And then Eli Gold grew up and became it.
So he's calling Alabama. See, this is what I'm talking about. We can't even go off in this. No. We have so much to do tonight with this podcast and a lot of stuff to get to. But would you agree to that sometime, maybe this summer?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Why not? If it's one of the shows that we do from my bar.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you want it out somewhere?
Well, if it's summer, I wouldn't mind getting out. But here's the thing. We might bring a guest on that is actually the guest interviewer.
Oh.
So we would bring the guest on, talk a little bit, and then we'd start the conversational beer and introduce you as the interviewee.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Think? Yeah, we could do that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I think it'll work.
I will tell you, I've been thinking about this. In theory, we're doing a show every week. Now, we're going to miss a week here and there for, personal reasons, or you might take a week off because someone's on vacation.
Hemorrhoid flare-ups, things like that.
We try not to talk about it,
right,
but you are sitting on a donut tonight, which is great. It's glazed. That's not how that works, by the way.
Sweet.
But I've been thinking about things to do during the summer, like where we could do the show from and what we can talk about. I've got friends that do pretty popular podcasts around the country. Love to have one of them guys come on to talk about what it's like to do a startup podcast and what differentiates, hey, this is my hobby versus this is what I do for a living.
Well, and I think one of the things we've talked about many times on the show is that this is a vehicle to drink beer. The beer is a vehicle to talk. That's all it is.
Yeah, beer is merely the liquor that gets us to conversation.
What would you think about trying to get us onto a collegiate playing field, the surface of a playing field, and we do a podcast from like the 50-yard line?
Well, I know a school.
I'm sure you do.
Here in town.
Could you do that? That's crazy.
At worst, I could get us into a spot where we can see the field.
Okay. All right. So that could be interesting. Let's just consider that.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go off
in
any other direction.
How about this? If anybody has an idea that they would love to hear us talk about, hey, here's a topic that I think would be great to hear you guys expound on. You can simply just email us, tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com, or on Facebook, Tom's World Beer Tour. You could go and leave a comment, or you could send us a message. Tell us.
Well, and here's something I think you should know. If you're not familiar with Tom Bradley, that's me, and the show that I do every day.
That's right.
I cover a lot of subject matter.
Right.
It's not because I know it all. It's because I'm interested in a lot of subject matter.
You have an opinion on just about everything.
I mean, if you were to say, hey, we're going to put pavement on the street today, I'd be like, what do you mean pavement?
Let's talk about this pavement.
Immediately, I'd be like, do you mean you're surfacing? You're doing some milling work? Are you going to break it up and put down concrete?
What's the makeup of this pavement?
Or are you putting down asphalt? Is this a tar and gravel routine?
Who's paying for this?
I get really into this stuff. And so if you would like to have us go off, but it's going to be done during beer.
Well, once again, Tom's World Beer Tour is not a beer show. Beer is the liquid that leads us to great conversations. And every once in a while, it's whiskey.
And
that leads us into what we want to talk about.
I thought we might do that tonight. Let me bring up something else. Have you watched Drunken History? I think it's what it's called.
It's called Drunk History.
Drunk History. I guess you have then.
This is one of the best shows that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah.
It is. I've turned it on to other people. Ironically, I learned a lot of actual moments in history from this ridiculous show. So may I explain said show?
Yes, I know. I mean, I've watched a couple of episodes.
Well, for those listening, let me give you what we call the 30,000-foot view.
Okay.
Right? Basically, they interview somebody after they've gotten tipsy or really drunk.
Right.
So the host of the show gets drunk with them. Usually it's a comedy writer or someone you really haven't heard of. Every once in a while it's a celebrity, but it's usually somebody that kind of can tell a tale, if you will.
Right.
But they get hammered, schnockered. And as they're telling the tale, this moment in history, whatever it is, they're drinking and drinking and drinking.
So before they started drinking, they did understand the moment in history.
Sure. They understood where they're going. They have good knowledge of it. And then as they're drinking, the information's coming out, but it's coming out a little slurred perhaps.
Yeah.
And you think about it, would I like to watch somebody telling me a moment in history while they're hammered? Yeah, I'll watch that.
Sure.
But they don't stop there. The next step is after they've done this interview in what we would call post-production, they get some pretty well-known comedy actors and actresses to reenact the moment that they're talking about, and the audio of which they are lip-syncing is the audio of the person telling the story.
Oh, my God.
So if that person burps, guess what? In the reenactment, in the middle of whatever it is,
the character or
they burp.
Historical figure.
If they fall down, I don't know that I'm doing it complete justice, but here's the deal.
But you do like it.
I love it, and it started on the website called funnyordie.com.
Yeah.
Which Will Ferrell is one of the guys who started that website, and it was one of those. It was a web series that Comedy Central picked up. It's phenomenal. It's so good.
I'm gonna have to check it out sometime.
Have you not seen it?
I mean, I've seen some pieces of it.
Oh no.
I'm gonna see full episodes.
Oh no.
I think there's a little bit of that involved with Tom's World Beer Tour.
I will tell you that I will go back and listen to episodes because the problem with doing a show is that things come out of your mouth, but it's happening over a very short period of time. Sometimes you don't remember what you said, right? So I've gone back and listened, and on like the whiskey tasting show, when we got near
you were drinking all the whiskey,
I would say that I had
getting a little hammered.
I had a pretty good buzz going on.
The good news is you were at your house, so that was comfortable.
That's right.
We have a wonderful hostess tonight that's taking care of us.
Karen's great.
Is going to join us in just a moment. If you want to wave her down at any point, please do.
Yeah, she's back there with her in-laws.
As I think her in-laws.
That's what she said. She said my in-laws are here. I got to go talk to my in-laws.
Well, wave her down because it's time to bring her on. And you know how I know that?
Because we're out of beer.
I'm at the last of my beer, and we need her to bring over the beers.
So tonight we are talking about what makes a great dive bar. Mm-hmm. Ironically, the place we are in is a dive bar.
Yes.
But it's called Dive Bar. That's the name of it.
So they chose the obvious for what they did.
On the outside, it is dive bar.
But the thing is like they serve food that's not dive bar-esque.
Well, that's, once again, that gets us into the conversation. So real quick, for those that are listening, I'm going to show this picture.
You can show something, but I'm looking over to.
This is the outside.
Hey, Karen, come on over. See, I'm just going to call her.
There you go. So this is the outside of dive bar.
All right, right. If you're watching the video, you can see this. If you're
watching the video, you can see this. It's the outside of dive bar. It's a nondescript. I mean, it says dive bar.
It's kind of a dive bar.
I'll tell you what I love about it. If you want to go to a dive bar, you roll up to this place, you're like, dude, that's a dive bar.
Yeah.
But then you get in and you're surprised. Holy shit, look at this.
What do you got? Oh, yeah. She's bringing the conversational beers.
That's right. So let's
don't fully introduce them. Just keep them down low.
That's right.
Keep them on the
We're
down low.
not talking about it. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Things just got very real over here.
Nuts.
I'm going to go ahead and hit our intro for our conversational beer.
Okay.
This is the intro that someday in the near future, Tom Bowman's going to be playing the trombone through.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, why not?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conversational beer segment of our show, where Karen is now joining us, the owner of the dive bar and really a queen all the way through. Thank you so much for having us out. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
I asked you to pick out the beer that we should have. Bring the microphone in nice, right? Just bend it in nice, real close to it. There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
I asked
I
asked you to pick out a beer that is the quintessential dive bar beer, and you went and pulled out 3 for you and I to discuss.
Right. First of all, she brought you behind her bar. She said,
Yes.
"Come on, let's go." And I got stuck in a conversation with those two jagoffs.
You shouldn't have been over there.
I could have been behind the bar.
So
You could have been.
I know, right?
how often do you take somebody behind the bar like that? Am I special? Tell me I am.
You're a little bit special.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very special. Trust me.
Greatly appreciate that. And you showed us some beers. I want to mention the other ones that you showed. You had Lone Star, and that's a beer you don't find very many places at all.
You don't?
Okay. And then you showed us your favorite beer.
Oh, yeah.
And what is that?
Shinerbach.
Oh, I like Shinerbach.
Are you from Texas?
I lived in Texas after I graduated from high school for a couple of years.
Were you on the run or something?
And what happened?
Might have been.
Oh, all right.
When
We
you
can't talk
graduated,
about that.
when
Fair
you
enough.
graduated high school, were you just dying to get to Texas and see what it was all about?
Well, I have family there, and I go and visit every summer. And then I had scholarship offers for there as well as where I went to school. And so it was one of those things like.
All right, so where did you go to school and what did you study?
Yeah.
Well, I ended up going to William Woods.
So back in
Well, that's
Missouri.
not Texas.
I
No.
know.
Okay, gotcha. What did you study?
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
Stuff.
She studied how to run a dive
She's in the
bar.
CIA, dude.
Yeah,
what she did.
Stuff.
She's in the CIA. She's
Did you
she's
go to
very
Texas? Did you go to
Studied
Texas
alcohol.
to follow a love of your life? Is that why you went down there?
No, I really just wanted to get away from Missouri. I was like,
Was part of that Missouri? Was part of it home? Because I understand the desire to leave home and go out on your own.
well, part of it was that, but every summer when I went down there, I just loved it. I mean, it's fun. There was so much to do. There's so much that you could see, and it really wasn't home. And that really
what parts
was part
of Texas is its own continent? What
Yeah, no
part?
kidding. Well,
what
there's-
part of
It's
Texas?
its own republic.
Well, so I went to Dallas. I lived in Dallas. And so when I was, 18, 19, they have this little place called Trader's Village. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's like the world's largest outdoor flea market.
Oh,
And it's fantastic. And, every 18, 19, 20-year-old, they're looking for a place to find some special things that you can get into special places. Hence, I own a dive bar. And, even at that age, I might want to get into dive bars. And so then we found.
see.
Yeah, I know. I
Uh-huh.
know. Yeah. And then in the South back then, there were places that you could get into at 18.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure it was.
created
So
new,
when you
I
say
created new words.
so when you say I studied stuff, what you're saying is you really paid attention to bars.
I did.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. That's what
Yeah.
I was
Well, it
getting.
was summertime and you were down there for short periods of time, so you saw it as being a really fun time.
I did.
When you actually moved down there, did you start losing the thrill?
Yes and no. I mean, it's still one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah.
But and it's funny because I like South Florida a lot too. But I also like kind of the smaller hometown feeling
Yeah.
that you get
Well,
in
South
Columbia.
Florida and Dallas, Texas are pretty different places.
Yeah,
But
They
I know,
sorry.
but they're
certainly are.
both like big and.
I mean, if you
there's-
want something close to Texas, you got to go to like the Panhandle of Florida, where there's mini trucks and Camaros.
Well, I mean, if you're, what's wrong with
true.
mini trucks and
I'm just saying, you go to Tampa, it's mini trucks and Camaros. That's the closest thing to
so
Dallas.
True. It
when
is
you
so true.
when you went to Texas though, you were hanging out around Dallas,
Uh-huh.
and Dallas is a big city,
It is huge. It's wonderful.
and it's very much unlike Houston, which is very much unlike San Antonio,
Right.
which
And
is
there's
unlike
nothing like-
Amarillo
and nothing's like
Austin.
Austin.
I mean, Texas is so many different places. You liked Dallas.
I did.
like Dallas too.
I like Dallas a lot. I like Houston though too. But you're absolutely right. It's completely different.
Absolutely.
Houston has some really cool. Their downtown I feel like is a more and it's been a while since I've been to Houston, but I feel like their downtown they have some really cool eateries, and I feel like it's kind of small in a really weird way.
Houston is huge.
It is, but the way you feel like when you go to their eateries, it's kind of like walking down Main Street, Columbia.
Really?
It's their downtown. They've got some really cool local restaurants, and you could walk around and you could feel kind of vibish.
Can I bring up something right now? I am so damn thirsty. So when we brought up the beer earlier and you took me behind the bar, you said, here are a couple of my favorites. You said, we're the only bar in this entire city that carries this. And I looked through the glass window of the fridge and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got the Foster's oil can.
Oh my
Yep.
God, dude! When's the last time you had one of these?
It's been a long time. And the first time I had one with my brother Patrick, and he goes, when you open this, you drink the whole thing. I'm like,
Right.
well, isn't that what we do? And so
Are you going to play the conversational beer music for this?
do you want to go?
Do we
well,
do
I'm
we
not-
get the whole deal?
Let me see if I can.
I don't
get the
know.
whole
I mean, I
deal.
don't know. Do we?
Let me see if I can bring it back up.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Okay, we're gonna open these
I
beers.
don't have any fingernails.
Oh, I should have brought the little, thingies.
I don't have the thingy on me. Whew. Good gracious.
Yeah, that's a beer can now. Cheers.
I don't get to drink mine.
Well, you can't get it open.
Here,
I
you,
can't-
you need
Karen's
to.
gonna
Karen,
Karen's gonna open it
would
for
you
me.
open that, please, for him?
I don't have any
Because I
fingernails.
work in a bar.
Well, I bite my fingernails. That's the problem.
Yeah, you work in a bar.
Thank you.
There you
Ooh,
go.
Oh, whoa. Hey, that's
And
perfect.
you got all kind of foamy over
Hey,
there.
here's
What-
the best
what-
part. It didn't get on the computer, and it didn't get on my phone.
How come yours is all foamy? Like, what'd you do?
I think he shook it.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
He got so excited
He
that
did
he was
his-
like,
Oh. Let's enjoy this. Let's have a sip of this Foster's.
cheers. Dude, I don't think I've had one of these since my 20s.
Dude, it's been a long, long time. And the thing is, Karen, if it makes the conversational beer, it will never happen again
No,
on
this is
Tom's
it.
World Beer Tour.
Never again.
So the only time we're ever going to have Foster's is this time with
Correct.
you.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Welcome to the appearance.
Yeah. Hi. Give me some.
Look at that. God, you know everybody in this.
I
town.
know a few people. So why Foster's?
Well, so one of the things that we try to be is different.
Yeah.
I don't want to be your usual
All right.
every place you go. We
Right.
want to be a little bit different.
Right.
All right, so let's lead that into what tonight's question was, which is what makes a great dive bar? So in your case, a beer that you can't get anywhere else in town.
Yeah,
Great dive bar.
great dive bar.
Oh, wait a second. I mean, a dive bar is a place where anybody can go to
And feel welcome.
and and they're not supposed to dress up. They're not supposed to put on. They're not nothing to put on, right?
Yeah, you just feel at home.
You walk in and somebody looks at you and says, "What are you doing here?" It's like, "What are you doing here?" And you're like, "Okay, yes,
Right.
we're both here."
That's right.
That's it. You called your bar the Dive Bar, right?
Is it the dive bar or is it just dive bar?
Well, so there was
Uh-oh.
actually a conversation on
I
whether
mean,
it could be
uh-huh.
the dive bar or dive bar.
Right.
Well, it can't be the dive bar because then grammatically it would be the dive bar. So it's dive bar so that you can actually say the dive bar.
She's right. She's right because you'd say, "Where are you going tonight?" I want to go to that one place. Which place? The Dive Bar.
Yeah.
I think.
Bless
I think
you.
I think you're right. I think you're right, Karen.
I think even if there was a the in front, I would still say dive bar.
So you skip the. I throw the in there.
This was a whole argument that we had when we were trying to decide if it's the dive bar or the dive.
So
All the
so
di-
you would
dive.
say,
There was an
"Hey, I'm
argument
going
about
out
5 or
tonight."
6 does.
You would say, "I'm going out tonight to Dive Bar."
Yep.
And if you called it Dive Bar, I would say, "I'm going out tonight to the Dive Bar."
Listen, one of my favorite restaurants in town is 44 Canteen. I don't say the 44 Canteen. I don't.
Okay, all
I say
right.
I'm going to 44 Canteen.
All right.
See, and I'm kind of more like you on that.
Now, if you're in the country, sometimes you say you're going to the Walmarts.
Oh, they do say
Yeah,
that.
but that's
They do.
But that's
They do.
They've only got one.
Yeah,
and they
but-
go, "I'm going to the Walmarts."
But that's
or
a
the Dollar General.
That's a dialect, is what that shit is.
Oh. Is
that what that
that's
is?
a dialect.
That is such a true.
Yeah,
dive.
yeah. I don't
It
know
is
what it is.
hilarious.
Do you work the bar here at Dive Bar, the Dive Bar, the Dive Bar?
So every once in a while, you'll catch me behind the bar
Uh-huh.
pouring
Beautiful.
a few drinks.
Do you like doing that, or are you forced to, or what do you,
It's my favorite part of what I do here.
is it really?
It is. And so they try to keep me out here now because, you're supposed to, like, at some point kiss babies and shake
Right,
hands.
I don't
and
know
be
that I'm
like,
going
oh,
to dive bars to kiss babies. I
You
don't
know.
You've
know.
got a baby in
Yeah.
a dive
Dive
bar.
bar.
That happened once.
Yeah, of course
And
it
it did, and
Hell
I
yes,
went,
it
Of
did.
course.
And it was before COVID.
Yeah.
And so, people are over here. This used to be a pool table right here.
Uh-huh.
And this like, they brought the baby home from the hospital, and they stop here.
You mean
On
an
the way
infant?
to-
Like, this is like,
Like
So the
to
baby-
christen?
the
Open
baby-
a Foster's. We'll pour it across
So
its
the baby
forehead.
only knew womb, hospital, dive bar.
I was like,
Oh, that kid's going to grow up to drink.
whoa, you brought a.
Holy shit.
And so the whole was it that Friend show? You
Yeah.
brought a baby to a bar?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
I
it was
literally-
from it was from Sweet
Sweet
Home,
Home,
Alabama.
Alabama.
Oh, Sweet Home
Yes.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes. I really did that
Wow.
I was like,
You look at
oh.
them, you're like, wow.
I was like,
Okay, so
and then I go, can I hold the baby?
Yeah,
and
of course.
Why not? Of course.
And of course they let
Did
me
you hold
the
the baby while you were pouring taps back behind the bar? That's awesome.
That would have been hilarious.
all right, so explain this to me. How long has Dive Bar been here?
We have been open since December of 2017.
Okay, so just over 3 years.
Yes.
So as you got ready to create Dive Bar, in your mind, what's the checklist of, if we're going to open up this place called Dive Bar and we want people in this town to come to Dive Bar, what are you checking off in your brain that this place has to have for people to come in and go? Because let's be honest, no offense, when you look outside,
You're like, crap.
holy shit, I'm going in there.
Right. I mean,
It's not scary, but it's just like it
It doesn't say welcome.
No. What it looks like from the outside,
It says go home.
it kind of looks like you took 2 storage containers and put them together and said, "This is where we're going to have a bar."
Oh, did you all show my storage container out there?
I
See?
didn't go look at that. No, I mean, a dive, or don't say dive bar, just say a dive. All right.
Yeah, a dive.
Dives probably started in the 20s and 30s, is my guess.
Well, the whole point of dive, because I looked this up, right?
Okay.
They're in really nice establishments. They needed to have another place for those to go drink that really couldn't go in the normal establishment. So they were always downstairs.
So
you
Karen-
had to dive down to go to these
to
places.
get it. So this is the place for those of us who are not welcome to other places.
That's right.
I got to tell you something. I don't want to go to the places that don't welcome me. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like, what is it? I don't want to be a member of a club that would accept me or something like that.
Correct.
I don't know. No, there's something really. When I come in here or any dive establishment, when I run into people that I see in other places, other business arrangements, church, things like this, and I run into them at a dive, we look at each other. We're like, we're all cool here, right? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all cool here.
Well, the thing that I love about our bar is it doesn't matter which corner you're in. You're going to get people from all walks.
Sure.
Every walk of life is welcome here. And it's like you leave all your prejudice, you leave everything right out that front door.
Yeah.
And if you walk in here and we catch something that is off, I mean, this is not the place for you.
Right.
I mean, I just don't, I want everybody to feel welcome. I'm like, and it's so cool to watch people and hear people come in and they're like, wow, this is so cool.
There was a bar years ago in this area that I would go to, and one afternoon somebody pointed out 4 guys up at the bar, and they said, if you count those guys and their net worth, you're looking at millions of dollars of net worth. Those 4 guys, and they were in there every afternoon, 2, 3 o'clock, for about 2 or 3 hours, and then they depart. Millions of dollars. You couldn't tell at all. And I won't say it was a dive. But it wasn't upscale.
Right.
And they had their little corner they got to. And these guys, they left all the millions and the worries and the business and the investments behind. And they went in there in jeans and boots and
That's the way it should
flannel
be.
shirts and just sat around and had a
Exactly.
beer with their buddies.
So what was on your checklist? You're gonna build. When you put the name Dive Bar on the outside, you're living up to something.
Well, so there was a combination of things. So pre-COVID, we had a volleyball pit out back. And then you wanted
What is it now? Cat box?
Yeah.
kind of
A very expensive
a very
cat box.
expensive. So it's in the process of we've got pavers that are getting ready to be put down, and it's going to be Columbia's probably. I'm going to claim it. We are going to have the largest patio back there.
All right.
And you're putting in some kind of a shell for bands to play in, some kind of amphitheater
Yeah.
thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
as we
Great.
write Karen's checklist, we've got it's got to have an outdoor space.
Outdoor space.
Okay.
We
Place for
wanted-
live music.
Actually, we didn't even have that. Was not even on our thought list.
All right,
then.
just outdoor.
Outdoor. We had the volleyball.
'Kay.
That was what it was.
Right.
I just wanted a place that everybody felt welcome.
Okay.
And I wanted to carry on the tradition of, in the sense, like when this was the Tiger Club, when I came here, it was everybody felt welcome. You could come in, you get
Right.
lost in the crowd, you drank, you had a great time, everybody was laughing. It was just fantastic. And I wanted to make sure we kept that spirit when we opened up, because there's some places I go here in town, I'm like, why am I here? You don't feel welcome. You don't
Right.
feel that.
Or it's too hoity-toity.
Yeah.
Why do you? Is it just decorations that don't make you feel welcome, or they're not just being outgoing? What's going on?
I think it's a combination. I don't know that it's decorations, because you can walk in. Some of it's the service that you get.
Sure.
I mean, service is key. I mean, did you smile at me today? Did you have a great time?
Do you tell your employees this, or do you show them? What do you do?
Combination of both.
Yeah.
Right.
You should, like Monday night, we had I was bartending Monday night. Oh my gosh, I had so much fun.
Yeah, they were whiskey tastings.
We were whiskey tasting.
And what were you doing between the whiskey tastings? You're playing what?
Bingo.
So it was bingo and whiskey tastings.
Yeah.
All the same.
That's a
It
great
was
combination.
Bingo and whiskey tastings.
I
What
mean,
says dive bar better
People
than that?
were, it was the best bingo ever.
You should create a bingo card that has different whiskey labels on it, right? And then you just pull one down from the bar and you go, Old Forester, 1920. Oh, I got that one. Barrel bourbon. Bingo.
Yeah. By the way, he's a whiskey.
Oh, we know. We know.
Yeah,
There's
enjoy.
there's this other Facebook page that I kind of maintain.
What did you do different? Did you do anything different inside?
So inside, all of this wood that's up on the walls,
Uh-huh.
they came off of a barn over in Blackwater, Missouri.
Okay.
It was a 1929 barn on a farm that a friend of mine owned. So all of that came off of a barn over there.
So a dive bar, you need surfaces that you're not worried about people running into, right? Like I noticed you
Tin.
can hear it on the podcast. You got the tin siding.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from a
Right.
tin roof.
Yeah.
Is on
Busted.
here.
And we got all the
Get
wood
that.
up there.
Get this. All right.
Yeah.
And this is not a chair rail. That's like an elbow rail. You can put your elbow up on there and hold a beer.
You could put a long neck on there.
Yeah.
You
You
could.
can't put a Foster's on there, but you could put a long neck.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
sitting right there.
totally-
That's beautiful.
Sometimes we find them at the end of the night.
I'm sure
right
you
there,
do.
I'm surprised.
But why did you guys feel the need at a dive bar, this being the dive bar, why did you feel the need to go upscale on the food? Because I think you did.
Oh,
Well-
I know you did.
So here's the thing. I don't like bar food.
Defined in your mind.
Yeah, what's bar food?
Define bar food.
Fried food.
So like
What's wrong with a fryer? I don't know what the
so
hell's
like
going on
mozzarella
here.
sticks that come out of a
Yeah,
bag.
I don't like. So some of my favorite restaurants here in town. Can I talk about them?
Well, you don't need to mention by name
Yeah,
because
but
I don't
there's
want to hammer on them. But
There's a brewery downtown
yeah.
on Broadway that I enjoy going to.
Oh, if you enjoy them, yes, you can say their
Yeah.
name. You talk about
Yeah.
Broadway Brewery.
I love
Yeah.
Broadway Brewery.
Yeah.
I love their food. I mean, it's just
What's real food?
It's real food.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm going to be here 3, 4, 7 nights a week, I want to eat good quality food.
Yeah.
And so when we opened the dive bar, the business loop, as we all locally, we know that it has been going through a change.
Right.
So some of that is how are you going to entice or get people to come out here? Well, you got to have something that people remember you by. Tonight's steak night.
Right.
How many other places in town do a 40-day aged sirloin for, I think it's $12.99?
Nobody.
And that's the full
I
meal.
mean, roasted garlic, all of it made from, scratch. I mean, it's
We
Here's
came
great.
in here.
It's
My
great.
wife and I came in here and sat up at the bar
Yeah.
and looked over a couple of menu items. We're like, what?
Yeah.
So we ordered a couple of things. They came around. We're like, damn, this is good food. This is freaking amazing stuff
let me
here.
let me explain something. So I saw a post from your wife.
Yeah.
It was like a Friday night, and she posted about the food, and I'm like, wow, that looks great. So we looked up and said, wait a minute, what about they have brunch? So I was
Yeah, you
showing-
guys do brunch at a dive bar. Who the
Right.
hell does that?
So let me explain it. It's not just brunch. Salmon stuffed avocados. They're chicken and waffles, which I had, by the way. The pulled chicken is in the waffle. It's not
Chicken
chicken on the
in-
side. It's literally in the
waffle.
waffle
wow.
with a whiskey syrup.
Did you say syrup?
Syrup. I know. We've had this discussion before.
He didn't even give it 2 syllables. It was SURP.
Syrup.
Like S-U-R-P, SURP.
Syrup.
Good God,
So,
man.
so
From California?
here's the beauty of a great dive bar, and in
Right.
particular this dive bar, is that you come in, it's unpretentious, it looks like a kind of place that maybe a bar fight could happen, but probably not, but it could. And then you sit at the bar, great whiskey selection, great beer selection, everyone's friendly. The kitchen's the size of a phone booth. I'm just going to tell you right now. I got a little nervous when I first came in because I'm looking at this menu going, this is this is courageous to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm looking through the door because I'm sitting at the bar. I can see in. Everything came out at the same time. It all came out hot. It all came out delicious. That's what makes a great dive bar. Give me something I'm not expecting without having to pay.
So generally speaking, it should be served quick like a diner. A dive bar should be like a diner. If you're going to do, a lot of dive bars don't have any food.
Sure.
So how the hell do you do that? Are you a cook, Karen?
Well, some days. There's pictures of me with
No, I don't
aprons
mean
on.
here. Like, I mean, do you know how to cook?
So I kind of do. I'm a baker.
Okay.
I mean, you don't get this lovely without baking stuff. So I am totally the baker in our household. That little guy over there, he has created like every recipe that we have.
But
like,
you've got to be able to replicate it when you go into this little kitchen, and you guys can do it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude,
well,
it's
and
amazing.
there's this guy right behind the bar there with the hat on. He came to us and he helped us take some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
And create a way for us to replicate it. Those two together, jammed.
What's the
Just
toughest
jammed.
thing about owning a bar like this?
I don't know.
Saying goodnight at the end of the night and closing the
Well,
door.
yeah, he'll tell you it's.
You don't
getting me
gotta
to
go,
leave.
but you can't stay here.
Yeah,
Get
he's
out.
getting me to leave. I'm like, it's time to go home. Ugh. But someone wants to talk to me. I want to stay here and talk. I'm having a great time.
It's got to be difficult. And you're a people person. You like talking. You like having that interaction with everybody. And if you're running the dive bar and enjoy that, that's good.
It's
That's
really
good.
cool.
All
I,
the way
think,
through.
I think the other thing that makes a great dive bar is it's not very big. Like if you walk in the door I can take 3 big steps from the door to the bar, which is fantastic.
A dive bar can't be large.
No, you don't want it to be large. It
No.
needs to be in an odd location that you wouldn't expect. It's got to have something inside that you go, well, this isn't nuts, but it's nice. It's the right size.
Right.
If you're gonna do food, you got to knock me out, which is what I love. Right. All these really high-end culinary chefs do food trucks and they dive bars and places like that. We're in a very cool time where dive bars are more than just. My favorite dive bar where I grew up was a Hell's Angels bar. It was called TJ's.
Now, were you riding back then?
I mean, I rode, but I wasn't riding Harleys. This is when I was a kid and, in my 20s. And it was called TJ's. It was in the hometown where I grew up. And what made that a great dive bar is you could get in a fight in that bar and nobody would call the cops. That was great for TJ's because that's what people went there to do. It was a Hell's Angels bar, for God's sake.
There's a fight breaking out.
I'm just saying,
Let it go. Let
a
it go.
great dive bar isn't always great food, great drink. It's what makes this dive bar great. It's something it's our own. It's ours.
Does anybody have a negative view because you call it dive bar?
Well, so some people, because it's called dive bar, and like the front is kind of, it needs to be churched up. at the
No,
front.
do not. No. Don't do that.
Yeah, see, but people go.
I mean, people like me, if you go, this is a nasty, seedy joint. I'm
Yes,
like,
I know.
yes, and I'm going. Thank you very much.
I love it.
You're speaking to the choir right now. Thank
But
you.
some people, they're like, well, maybe the people that go to the hoity-toity places, they're like, ooh, I don't know about that place.
We don't want those people.
But that is true.
We don't want those people. What we want is what we do, right? We will, on a Saturday or Sunday, we will ride 100 miles to go to a place like this
That's right.
because the food is good, the drink is good. It's
Well, and
not
we
pretentious.
don't want pretentious. That's exactly
Correct.
right. We don't want that. We want
Correct.
to be able to walk in and somebody say, "What are you doing here?" And
So
we say we were thirsty and hungry. And they
Correct.
go, "You came to the right place."
If you're 100 miles from Columbia, Missouri, and you ride, this is your joint. You put dive bar in, you take a look at it, you ride 100 miles
Come
to
in
dive
here,
bar, you
hang
get
out.
food, you get drink, you have a great time, you get on your bike, you ride 100
You
miles
want to give
back
us
home.
a quick mention of something coming up? Wait a second. Is that our next guest? Is that?
Ugh.
Will you?
Can
you
we
have?
bump? I thought we were bumping him
I don't. He's not the. You want him to be the bump guest every week?
every week. I want to do what Jimmy Kimmel did to Matt Damon.
I don't
At
think
the end of
that's-
every show, I want to go, my apologies to Doug. We actually
I want to
ran
bring him
long."
on. I want to bring, you have live music coming.
Yeah,
to the
he's
dive bar.
coming.
Yeah.
He's coming to the dive bar.
There you go.
He's
Dive bars have great music.
He's
All right.
coming to the dive bar.
We're going to bring him on.
We
Karen, we're going to have to thank you so much for joining us on the
We
show.
love this joint.
And we're going to pass the headphones over to him.
By the way, the whiskey selection at this joint. Ride 100, 150 miles, come here, for the whiskey selection.
Have
I'm
a shot of
telling you
whiskey.
right now, it's phenomenal.
Okay. I'm gonna bring this down. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you
Thank
for
you.
the idea of the
Cheers.
Fosters as well.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Here at the World
Beautiful.
Beer Tour, Tom's World Beer Tour, I'm going to back up our tunage, as a matter of fact, because
We have to be play on music for this guy?
I think we're supposed to play some bring on
Okay,
music.
you know how everybody has that one friend that you kind of tolerate the friend?
Right.
Right? He's everywhere where you are. I get a text every week from this guy that says, hey, man, where's the show at tonight? Last week, the show was at my house.
Yeah.
So I texted and said, it's at my bar. And he goes, oh, I don't know that I got an invite. Is there a secret word to get into that? In other words,
He's really been coming around
he
quite
was
a bit to
fishing
try and,
for an invite to my house. And then what does he do? He didn't show up.
You got the camera on him yet?
Would you like me to put the camera on him?
Put the camera on him.
I'm more of a face for radio. But
No, you're not kidding, pal. That's why we do this as a podcast.
We have a friend of ours. He's the sexiest bass player in multi-regions.
Not just Boone County.
Yeah. And he's also, hold up your Fosters.
look at that.
Did Karen just give you a freshly opened Foster's
Yes.
also?
Yes.
Oh, you're lucky.
Wait a minute.
Cheers.
What?
He got a beer, too?
Well, we're playing the conversational beer, so he has to have one
All
as well,
right,
so it's the
cheers.
right thing to do.
Dude, this
This
is my
is-
last beer for the rest of the night. How big is this beer?
This is the oil can. I think it's 32 ounces.
Good God.
What do you got over there? Are you reading it?
I don't see it, but I think you're right. I think it is.
By the
about
way,
32.
thank you to all of us for not trying to do a shitty Australian accent while we drink this beer.
I know.
Foster's, Australian for
There
beer.
you go. See?
You're right,
Sorry.
mate.
Yeah, there you
Had
go.
to happen. Hey, thank you for. You are playing at the Dive Bar
Yes, May 1st. We're really excited.
May 1st.
Yep.
Which band is it this time?
Primitive Soul. And
This guy's a slut when it comes to his music. He plays for
Oh,
anybody,
he's
anytime.
a hooer.
A whore?
A hooer.
A hooer.
so yeah, we're excited. We're playing for Karen's sister, Brandy, married Darren Kendrick, who I work with.
Okay.
And they are celebrating their wedding nuptials since they couldn't last year.
And so they
what
decided to
better
bring you
place?
guys in?
Well, yes.
Can I ask you guys a really weird question?
Sure.
Can you describe nuptial or nuptials? I'm doing this as I do it. I don't even know. Do you know what nuptials look like? Do you know what the definition of nuptials is?
No, but you're a priest, right?
Aren't they promises?
an ordained minister?
I'm an ordained minister, and I've
Yes.
married, what am I, 6 couples now?
I
Yeah.
guess.
Nuptials.
5 of them are still together.
When we say the nuptials of marriage, doesn't it sound like we're talking about like the dirty, some kind of grinding? I mean, the nuptials. It's the nuptials.
I mean, usually the nuptials is what keeps you together.
I've never Googled that and came
Don't.
up with that.
Google
end of it.
nuptials.
Please, for those listening, don't do this on your office computer.
Do it.
Please.
Do it nuptials and see what shows up.
Not safe for
I
work.
just think that it should. How long you been playing in bands?
This will be around 32 years.
And so,
About, yeah.
which makes you were 3 then. knowing your age.
Exactly.
No, wait a second. When did you start playing the bass? How old were you?
About 16. I was in high school. So I did the piano, drums,
So you-
trumpet,
so you didn't
trombone,
have any-
all that
you didn't have
stuff.
any friends?
Oh, speaking of trombone,
You have one, don't you?
I do, and I forgot to bring it. Sorry about that.
All right.
And he'll be able to
That's
play the thank you.
Oh, there you
Was
go.
that pretty good?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It almost sounded like you were letting go of a little gaseous action there.
At the same
It's
time,
really about,
yes.
it's about the same thing.
It's about the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
All right,
You-
so you played in a lot of bands,
Yeah.
and you've played in a lot of dives.
I have not played at a lot of bands. I've played at
I'm sorry.
a few bands, a lot of dives.
You've played in a lot of dives.
Yes.
What's the one thing that you look forward to in a dive when you play there?
Ass. You look
That-
for ass.
I tell you what,
Back in the day, you did.
never.
Okay.
So
He's a liar.
the thing you look for in a dive bar is camaraderie with the crowd. You come to a place like here, the dive bar,
Sure.
Yeah.
you can be friends with every single person here.
Immediately.
I met a guy tonight. I'm like, dude, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. He's
You mean
like,
in like a?
I've been
like-
here twice.
You mean like in an "I love you, man" kind of way?
yeah, like
Because
hey,
everybody's been drinking all
like,
day. I love
no-
you, man.
Well, yeah, like we're here for the same reason. We're here to have fun, relax, have a
Right.
beer. You go to some bigger shows. Everybody, honestly, people want to fight and carry on and everything
All
else.
right.
Really? So when you're up on stage,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the bass player does very little work, so I already
None,
know that.
zero.
Yes, thank you.
How light, how easy do you get in a performance at like a dive bar? When I say light and easy, I mean like You just kind of playing. You're like, what do you want? Yeah, and you're still playing. You're talking to somebody on
Yeah,
the side.
yeah.
Does that happen at a dive bar?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
Is that fun?
It is fun. It's fun and relaxing, and there's not a lot of pressure, and
Yeah.
you're there to have fun with them. You know?
If they ask for a song that's way off the charts from what you guys do,
Mm-hmm.
so they've been listening to you guys for 45 minutes. Let's say that everything you're doing is rhythm and blues, and they ask for some country tune. There's a classic country song,
Uh-huh.
and you guys don't play that. You're not going to try to. How do you handle that? What do you say to them?
So I will tell a real life example of a dive bar in Mexico, Missouri. It was called Bobo's. It was about I'd say the average intake was about 3 packs a night. In the
Nice,
place. I mean,
nice.
it was thick.
Even for those who didn't smoke.
Yes, and that was when Columbia had the smoke-free ordinance.
Yeah,
and you'd
yeah.
go there and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, we play, and this gentleman comes up and he said, "Do you guys know Unchained Melody by the Righteous?"
No, he said it the right way.
Yeah.
Do you know Unchained
Don't know
Melody?
Yeah. And we said, "No, we don't." He was like, "Oh, shucks." He was trying to impress his lady. Next minute, he comes up. He goes, digs in his pocket. He goes, "How about for $50?" We're like, "Absolutely." And the keyboard player said, "I know the lyrics. It's in the key of C. Follow me, guys. We got this."
Are you serious?
Wait,
Dead
isn't that what Marty McFly did when he was
Yes.
in Back to the Future?
Yes.
Hey boys, it's in the key of C.
Hey, boys.
Follow me.
Yep. Johnny be good.
No, wait a second. Unchained Melody requires some actual vocal work. I mean, right?
Yeah. The keyboard player knew it all. He's like,
And
"I've
was able
done
to
it before."
sing that
Oh,
thing
yeah.
and make it happen.
Yep, and he made $50 that night.
Wait, he's the only one that got $50?
We gave it to him.
How did you make $50 that night?
The hard way.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? It cost me $50.
Have you ever been nervous going into a dive bar to play?
Yes. And it was the second gig I played with Legend back in 1990.
This is when you had long hair. I started to
Yes.
say hair. You've still got lots of hair.
Yes.
You had long hair.
Had long hair. First gig with this band, we had about 3,000 people at the show. And I was
The
pumped.
first time?
First time with them. It was an outdoor gig, 3-band, outdoor party.
It's impressive.
Blew my socks off. The next weekend, we're gigged to play at the Funny Page in Jefferson City.
Good God.
That was open for the last night because the owner got busted for cocaine in his car and was able to keep it open one more night. And I was I was a little frightened because everybody in that place was extremely messed up.
Really?
And that night
on
on
everything.
And there was maybe only 20, 25 people versus 3,000 the weekend before that I thought, wow, I'm in this big band and now I'm in doing
How many
this thing.
Skinner requests did you get that night?
They couldn't talk very well, so not too many. But so we played the show, and we get done, and he said, "Look, I don't have any money to pay you, but you're welcome to anything in the bar."
I don't have any money to pay you?
Yeah. So the beer signs.
There's 3,000 people at this event.
Oh, no. This was the second weekend.
Oh.
No, the first weekend, 3,000 people, great gig.
Oh.
Could
But
not.
the second one was
Did
the
I take
real.
a nap between stories? Is that what happened?
No. It
Oh,
just
okay.
it just jumped.
Yeah.
So, but the second time is with this incredibly seedy individual.
Yes,
Oh.
and seedy place. So we took all the beer signs out of the windows and anything we could. We threw it in our
Oh,
bus
that's
and we
worth.
took
I mean,
off.
you could go pawn that stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Blues Brothers, they were playing for beer at the gig.
Yeah.
You guys played for beer signs.
We played for beer signs that night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Who hasn't done that? I did that in high school. we would play parties.
Yeah.
The garage band that I was in for beer.
Yeah.
That's
Sure.
what you did.
But not for beer signs.
No.
That's distinct
actual
on this.
actual beer.
And we played at a place in Licking, Missouri, about every
Yeah.
few
Excuse
months.
me? What?
The home of University of Licking or Licking U. Go on.
Or the state prison.
Sorry,
and,
every time. Every time.
Is that the licking pin?
Yeah.
the licking pen. Yeah.
welcome. Welcome.
You got to have a couple beers before you go to the licking pen.
Welcome to the Licking Pen. There's liquors and there's lickies.
Lickies, yeah.
Which would you like to be? Sorry, you don't get a choice.
It's your night in the barrel, sir.
Oh, God. There really is a
You know,
prison. There is a prison there. so that's-
15 episodes to totally break down on something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
15
good.
episodes.
That was good stuff.
Yep. Cheers. So
Yeah, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
So this place was called the Piney River Lounge because the Piney River goes right through.
Oh, it was down
Licking.
Yeah.
south, sort of like
Down south, yeah. It's down by Salem, Houston, that
the
area.
Devil's Elbow.
And it was also known as the Knife and Gun Club.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. and there
Yikes.
was plenty of knives and plenty of guns, and that was a little seedy in its own right.
When they call it the Knife and Gun Club, this isn't like a really upscale duck hunting.
No,
Okay.
no, there's
All right.
like, you fuck with my shit, you're getting the gun.
There you
Wow.
go. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
but let's be honest. When we ride, a lot of the people that we ride with carry,
Sure.
whether it's a knife in their back pocket or
Yes,
or
I do. I mean, yes, we do.
I perhaps.
Uh-huh.
And we go into some places like the Devil's Elbow Inn is one of these places in southern Missouri that's right on the Piney
That's a dive.
River.
That's a dive.
That is a dive, right? When there's 200 bras hanging from the ceiling, that's a dive.
They weren't taken by force. The ladies
No.
gave them
And
willingly.
when
They
that
quit
place,
wearing them forever.
that's
Yeah,
right.
quit
And
wearing
when that place flooded,
I know I did.
they had to take all that stuff down. Some of those bras didn't need to be up there.
Some of them got stained really nasty in that flood water, too.
You
I'm
know,
just gonna let
your
know.
basic Playtex doesn't need to be up there.
And
Let's
some
be
look
honest.
like parachutes, probably.
Have you ever played a bar where somebody challenged you to a fight in one way or another?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah?
I actually had, and this is kind of a weird story, but I had a female person that came to a lot of our shows and told her ex-boyfriend that
Uh-oh.
she was dating
With
me.
you? Dating or doing?
Dating.
Were you
So
aware of that?
I was aware of that because he made it known that he was going to kill me.
Oh,
Well, no, were you dating her?
No, not at all.
Were you doing
Not
her?
at all. Not at all.
Thank you.
I'm just.
No, that was a good clarification.
No.
They're two
I
different
appreciate
things.
that.
There's
Thank
two
you.
different things.
I know.
No, not at all. Okay.
Okay, got it.
And he would have been the kind of guy that would have said, "I'm not dating her." We
Right.
never
Well, I
went to
did.
the movies.
So yeah, I was had my life threatened, and he was going to kill me, and
How'd that turn out?
it turned out great.
Oh, okay, good.
I had a friend of mine.
I spilled my Foster's
Yeah.
on this story.
I had a
I really did.
So
All
I had,
down the front of you.
Our
This is
lead,
amazing.
Our lead singer ran into him at the Owensville bowling alley and said, "Look,
I'm going to
this
strike
this
you or
is all,
spare you."
He said, "This is all bullshit that she's starting this. She's just causing trouble and da da da." And
Wouldn't the way to end that go, dude? Do you really think she's doing that guy?
yeah, he's not. He doesn't play guitar. He
Come
plays
on,
a bass.
he plays-
I'd go the
bass.
other way. Do you really think I'm doing your wife? Okay, sorry.
So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
he talked him out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Damn.
But I
Damn,
will
damn,
tell
damn.
you, as motorcycle riders, the best people we've ever played for were Harley Davidson riders, Freedom of the Road riders, parties they had. The best ever, most respectful. They cleaned up their mess. They helped us carry our gear.
We also
They're
carry cash.
respectful.
And
yeah,
we carry a lot of cash,
but
and
but
so we like to
they're
tip.
there to have fun and party
Yeah.
with their friends, and that's it. And
I'm here to kick ass and drink beers, and all the beer's gone.
Yeah.
The bands you've played with, mostly you guys practice really hard and get up there and you do a set. A set is like generally 3 hours.
Yeah.
How many songs?
Practice? Are we talking about practice right now?
You
about
practice.
practice.
You practice.
No, we don't talk about practice.
How do you guys decide on the order of the songs when you're playing them?
So I read the directions. I don't have a lot of input. Most of the input is from the guitar players if they're playing.
Yeah,
in
you're
key-
not Rush.
Well, yeah.
Rush, the bass player, gets to make decisions. You don't get to make decisions.
Yes, true. Thanks, asshole. But most of it is like, hey, it's in the key of G. It's a slide song. So Quiz will play 3-4 songs in a row. That way he doesn't have to change guitars over.
You mean a slide song? He's got a slide on the guitar
Slide
on
on
his finger.
the guitar, and the E string is tuned to G. Yes.
Right. And you don't have a guitar tech that travels with you, so changing between songs not exactly convenient.
It's not convenient, and you got to talk some crap between songs.
Right.
So usually it's that. A lot of times the lead singer said, you don't want to front load a bunch of high vocal
Right.
stress on the first set to do it later. But
Or
that's
go,
about it.
or they want to go up and down.
Yeah.
I'll do a high one. I'll do something that really bust my balls.
Yeah.
And then let me do something like an Aerosmith where I can talk it out.
Yeah, and you don't want to come kick ass and do all your tough Allman Brothers stuff in the beginning, and then end it with a Kenny G tune. So
You
to
play
speak.
a Kenny G
You know what?
song?
I don't
No.
want to. I don't want to start or make it through or end ever with a Kenny
No.
G tune. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, no.
How's our timing? Because I'm having too much fun.
We're doing good.
So when you guys build up who brings the songs to the table? Does the bass player get
Everyone.
any input at all?
We'd like to say yes.
Isn't it usually the guy that brings the PA gets to make all the decisions?
You know, it's kind of collaborative in the part that the guitar player says, "Hey, look, let's do this Allman Brothers song, Jessica. No lyrics. It goes like this, and they tear it up, and you're like, absolutely, we're doing that song
because they know how to play it and they're doing it well.
Yeah.
But you don't ever come along and say, "Hey, man, you were singing that one song from REO Speedwagon so well, that love song."
Yeah.
Would you consider doing? Do you ever suggest something based on their talents and go, "Would you guys please consider the song?"
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Based on the singer, like you can nail this because of your range, and because of your vocal, your whole regiment that you put forth. You bring stuff to the table.
And then there's a problem that you have. You and I the other day were watching and listening to a band was doing a Journey song. Did a nice job of it, right? But if you go, you do Journey so well, let's do another Journey song. It's like you become like the Journey cover band.
Oh, yeah. And that's what you got to be careful about, too. Like with Primitive Soul, we do a lot of Allman Brothers. Right. And Quiz and Bruce, Pete, they tear it up on the guitar. But you got to be careful because you don't want to be an Allman Brothers cover band.
Right.
Tribute band.
Tribute band.
I mean, you guys, and so at the very least, you got to, if you're going to play those 3 or those 4 during your full set, you're going to have to spread them out.
Oh, yeah.
And beef it up with other stuff.
Yeah.
You guys call yourselves in Primitive Soul, one of the bands you play in, rock and rhythm and blues, right?
Yeah.
Would you explain rhythm and blues to everyone?
I think it's not really just a genre, but more of what you feel when you're playing or listening to the song. You know, it doesn't have to be Southern Louisiana backwoods.
Yeah, it's not Muddy Waters.
Not a Muddy Waters thing, but it's a feeling of comfort and joy. I don't know if that's a little bit too weird, but
no, I think it sounds
but
good.
You feel it. You feel it. You hear it.
How much do you guys jam on that stuff? Just let it roll and improvise. How much?
It's like with Primitive Soul, a lot.
A lot.
You can tell when Quiz is in a solo, you're like, let's do another one because he is on a roll.
Who decides that? You and the drummer?
Usually the lead singer.
The lead singer looks over and says, "Go, just keep going."
Yeah, like let's do it. Yeah,
let's go around the block again.
And the same thing with Fly Over Country. Our keyboard player Neil Minturn is killing it, and it's like, hey, let's hear it again.
Right.
And this time I don't care if the audience wants to hear it, but I want to hear it.
If he's deep into his work, how quickly does he realize you guys are going around the block again?
Pretty quick, because he'll look up because it's ready to do another solo.
And you're like, "We're not going. You keep going, bitch."
Yeah.
Well, it's a ton of visual stuff. I mean, it's a lot of nods. It's a lot
when
of
you did your improvisation.
Solos, yeah.
When you did that back when you were playing the trombone, did you have a set period that you were playing through?
But when you're doing jazz like that, I mean, it's just built that way. It's like, hey, you're going to do 16 bars, you can do 32 bars, whatever the case may be.
And you know it.
And you know it, and in your head, you've designed it in your head to fit that.
So in Springsteen, and I don't speak from knowledge, only from what I've witnessed, it seems like it's him and his drummer, Max Weinberg, that he looks back at the drummer and he's like, "Bitch, we're not moving on yet." Right. And so Max does nothing the entire concert with Bruce but watch the boss.
Right.
Whatever the boss says, what he's doing, and everybody else seems they're following the drummer. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
You can follow the drummer?
But, like you said, you follow it in your head.
Yeah.
You're not counting the beats. You're just
you're
feeling it, right?
I mean, here's a great example. Foo Fighters, right? My favorite band, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters in concert, there's certain songs that there's an interlude in between that you'll never hear on an album. You'll only hear it in a concert, and there's a feel.
Sure.
And it's there for 2 reasons, right? It's there, 1, because it's great for the fans. 2, it gives people a chance to get the hell off the stage, get a drink, take a leak, do whatever.
Sure.
Right? And so there's just things that you do live that you would never do on an album. And so it's all visual. If you go to a concert, watch it differently the next time you go to a concert. Really watch the musicians together. Watch the lead singer. Watch the guitar player. Watch the drummer. The bass and the drummer especially, that rhythm section is going to dictate a lot of things.
Yes.
Well, that's what I've always seen. If you go back to Fleetwood Mac, I mean, that was in the percussion and the bass back there. So
that
John
band
McVie and
that band
Mick
was
Fleetwood.
built around Mick Fleetwood. So it was all about him.
But John was working the bass, and so it's going to be the 2 of them, and they're
working
working together.
Foo Fighters is about Dave Grohl, and it's all about Dave Grohl and Taylor, the drummer, and everybody else follows along.
So let's finish it on this note. with Doug Whitworth, the sexiest bass player that I've ever met.
Was there
in my
was
life.
there a vote or something? I've heard this the 14 years that I've lived
Look
here.
at him.
I've heard
Look
this.
at him.
Well, you're
Listen
not
to
helping
him.
his cause.
Listen to him, and you'll know. Do bass players get laid more than everybody else in the band?
Oh God, no.
No. At what level?
Hilarious.
Is it the first tier, the second tier, the
It's
third
like,
tier?
hey, we can't find the bus driver. Can you drive the bus? I think he's in the back.
Okay, all right. Let me ask
Is it
you-
true that a roadie might have first choice?
Let me
More
ask
than
this:
likely, yes.
If you're right, if you meet groupies backstage, are you more likely to say you're the bass player or that you are a roadie? I'm just saying.
I'm like, oh, really? I work for Learfield Communications.
I'm the tech. I'm the tech.
We cannot say enough to Doug Whitworth for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Hey,
on this
cheers.
podcast.
Had a great time. Always enjoy spending time with you guys.
Karen and the Dive Bar for having us out.
Thank you,
Go to
Karen.
your local dive bar.
Yes.
Go to your
dive
local
bar.
dive bar.
And
And come for steak
what-
night again.
it is steak night. And what
I'm
a great
telling
idea
you.
for Foster's, right?
Yes.
And we'll never have Foster's as the conversational beer ever again. We promise.
It might
Yeah.
take me till 9 o'clock.
This
to
has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.